Well, hello there. This is the Thursday, July 1st edition of my solo guitar thingy. And yeah, I got a new string. Irrepressible. the angels sing somewhere. Well, it is it's a flash flood day here in New York. I was out visiting my doc for a weekly checkup, and not weekly, but frequently enough. You have to keep the old motor running, of course, and in tip-top condition always. And on the way back, I decided to stop at Citarella, which is a really great, more or less deli, with the best smoked salmon, Scottish smoked salmon. That's the only kind for us. But it started to really rain down enormously. Thankfully, Caroline gave me her umbrella, so I didn't get too drenched. But you notice I'm not wearing shoes today, but that's because my shoes got soaked out there. If it wasn't for stepping in puddles, there was just enough of a downpour to do it. But yeah, you know, my phone went crazy yesterday warning us about these potential flash floods here. And maybe they're coming again, though. I turned the air off so you could hear better. Thank you. And I opened the windows so I could also feel a little bit more comfortable, because it gets a little airless in here without them, or with the air conditioner on. In any case, I'm so happy to be here on July 1st, and it is a red letter day because today was the rollout of a new project, the first single of which is now on general release as a digital download or a stream across all platforms. And that is my new project, Le Beast Concrète, as in musique concrète. And if you know your French, that is an early name for basic electronic music tape manipulation, whereby the original practitioners of electronic music, going back to people like Pierre Henry and Pierre Schaeffer in Holland, and in France and in Belgium, and in Holland, Tom Dissevelt and Kid Bolton, aka Dick Reimakers. They would piece together Delia Derbyshire and the radiophonic orchestra of the BBC, such as David Warhouse, the American, were also like early on this tip, which was taking tape sounds of whatever, you know, natural sounds from the world. They could be mechanical. They could be also, you know, produced by oscillators, early synthesizer modules, more or less. Any sort of tone, orchestral instruments, people talking, you know, the sound of rain, and then speeding them up or playing them backwards and overdubbing, manipulating them to create early electronic music without the use of sequencers and synthesizers and whatnot. So this was my partner David Sisko's title, which I liked, because it also refers to a style of architecture you may or may not like, but anyway, there it is. It's called Brutalism, which is poured concrete, and there were a lot of 50s modernist masterpieces in this style. Some very imposing pieces. I played in Rome. I was on tour in Italy right before lockdown, and a friend of mine lived in one of these early brutalist buildings in Rome, and it was a very impressive exterior. And that's a shout out to my friend Marcel Sauer, who is a Czech national who was working for, I don't know, the Czech Economic Forum. Marcel, you'll have to elucidate for me, but he was kind of proud of the fact that he inhabited with his lovely family this building, which was definitely imposing. And you'll see examples of this. For instance, the Périphérique that circles Paris were primarily concrete-derived edifices constructed as low-income housing for basically disadvantaged people, many immigrants. Now, a lot of people have a problem who've lived there, and I know early on I was quite a fan of Ian Fleming's writings because of James Bond phenomenon, and he had a book of actually non-fiction travel reportage called Thrilling Cities, and he took Le Corbusier to task for these, what he would describe were uninhabitable structures, but I don't know, I've never really set foot in them. But I do have friends who live there, and I don't know, maybe they're problematic, and I can only think of also construction around the Westway in the 80s in London off of Ladbroke Grove was similar type of, huge concrete structures with elevators to transport people to their apartments, but to people living there, they might feel a bit totalitarian, shall we say, soulless. But anyway, we like the name Le Beast Concrete. You could just call it LBC for short, or The Beast. I don't know. But anyway, our first single, Realize It, came out today. I posted a clip, and I will upload a clip, which will stay more permanently on Facebook after I do it. And this clip is a spectacular assemblage by AAA, who is a good friend, although I've never met him, who lives in Australia, who became very active in creating all sorts of clips and promos for my solo thing. And so I brought him on board for this project, and he did a yeoman service here. So I have a little contest now I'd like to announce. The first person who can correctly identify every personage. Now there are many faces that we sprinkled throughout the clip. They were scientifically selected to embody a certain je ne sais quoi, a spirit, a jeu d'esprit, as they say, for the music, which is quite irrepressible to me. I really, I'm so happy with the way this project came out, and we have a full album coming out on August 11th. We're going to roll out 2 more singles before that, but this is the first one, Realize It. Okay, so anybody who sifts through it and looks at it and can identify as many of the famous or infamous figures, I know, like I used Rasputin in there, okay, that's a giveaway. I wouldn't exactly say he's a pillar of respect, but he was hard to kill, was he not? I mean, he reminds me of a certain ex-president, but he definitely had a place in the clip. Okay, so that's one giveaway, but I'm not giving away any others. So the first person who comes up with the most, let's say, identifiable people who are pictured in this clip will win, I don't know, how about a second pressing of The Essential Gary Lucas, of which I got a whole box yesterday from the Knitting Factory. And that is my 40-year retrospective, not to belabor the point too much here, but it's continuing to do really well with reviews and response from consumers, so much so that it pushed it into a second pressing. And I want to thank Ruben Miles Ty, whose name now appears in the special thanks, because it was inadvertently left out of the first run. But yes, he deserves a place of honor in this package, and I hope he's well. And what else can I say? We're rolling along here as best we can. There are some pending gigs, but I don't want to announce them other than I have a 40th anniversary show scheduled for September 11th, 9/11, which is a Saturday night at Le Poisson Rouge. We're keeping it very French, the whole motif. No offense to any other nation. It's funny because in touring, and as touring for as long as I have and as many territories I have, it's been amazing to me to step across the border and hear an adjacent territory badmouthed by nationals in the place that I'm playing at. I would give you some examples, but I just would shrug it off. I love to play for everybody who will have me outside of tyrannical despots, and I've even played in a few countries which are not right now on the good old friends of the U.S. list, but be that as it may, I don't think the people that I played for were particularly political at all, and definitely showed an appreciation for my music, which counted a lot. Now, there are some places I definitely wouldn't set foot in, even with an invitation, but we'll see, things change over time. Right now, though, I just want to hold up a book that just arrived, hot off the presses, which is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the novelization by Quentin Tarantino, which was cleverly designed and printed to look like a paperback, kind of a cheesy best-selling paperback of the 60s, in which milieu it's set. You must have seen this film, I hope you have. It's one of my favorite films of the last several years. I think, I like pretty much all of Tarantino's films, except when they sometimes veer into too extreme violence. Was this trip really necessary? I guess he thought it was. Audiences seem to think it is worldwide, but I'm repelled, usually at points of grotesque arterial display of spray and gore and gouging and something. This does not titillate me. But I'm looking forward to this book. I have to say I read a review by Dwight Garner in the New York Times, which basically gave away all these extra plot twists and points. I don't know why he would choose to do that, because usually they're pretty careful, like, spoiler alert, if you're going to buy this book, don't read it. They didn't have that. But nevertheless, I bought it. Go figure. So I'm looking forward to reading it, although some of the plot points that Mr. Garner elucidated were, shall we say, made me a little queasy, so maybe I'll hurry over them. And, oh my gosh, it's time. I have to leave here. But look, I dressed for dinner. I got all dressed up for the occasion. I know you might have been sick of seeing me as the schlub that I am here, in shorts and a t-shirt, but I have my other side as a double job. So, okay. Hey, look me over. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you on Saturday. Love to you guys, and I hope you enjoyed that. I did. I really got off on that one, as Steve Perry once said.